be going over the UFC 300 card that takes place Saturday, April 13th. So, for the first fight on the card, of an absolutely stacked card, I might add, we have Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. So currently, Bobby Green is a minus 218 favorite over Jim Miller. However, I think Jim Miller is going to win this. Not only does Jim Miller have, he has the most wins in UFC history. He's also got incredible grappling and an incredible gas tank on him. And Bobby Green is coming off a brutal knockout by the hands of Jalen Turner, which was an extremely late stoppage. So, I don't know if he's fully recovered from that. And on the other hand, his grappling just isn't quite on the level of Jim Miller. And I think their striking is relatively even. You know, Bobby's probably a slightly better striker, but not by too much. So I'm going to go with Jim Miller by decision win for the first fight. Next, we have Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. I don't know too much about these fighters. However, I do know that Jessica Andrade has much more power on the feet than Rodriguez. So, with that, I'm just gonna guess and say Andrade second round KO. Okay, I'm not too familiar on these fighters though. Next, we have one of my most anticipated fights on the card, Diego Lopez versus Sadiq Youssef. And I'm going to give this to my boy Diego Lopez. I've been watching this guy since his short notice debut against Movsar Evloev, where he took Evloev to war, giving him one of his toughest fights in the UFC on only 10 days notice. Sadiq Youssef, he's a solid all-around fighter. He's very quick and quite powerful on the feet. And he is ranked 13th in the featherweight division. However, I think Diego Lopez is going to weather the storm on the feet of Sadiq Youssef, and I think he is going to get the fight to the ground and finish it on the ground. So I'm going to go Diego Lopez by round 2 submission over Sadiq Youssef. Next, we have Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison. So for this fight, I am going to go with Kayla Harrison. I don't like Holly Holm's fighting style. She's extremely boring. She just clinches with her opponents and pushes them on the fence for the entire fight. I think she's slightly overrated. Obviously, coming off that head kick from Ronda Rousey many years ago, but she's still riding the hype a little bit. And I think that's the only reason she's even fighting at 300. She's kind of old now, and her fight style is pretty boring, to be honest. Kayla Harrison is a huge woman's bantamweight. Huge. And I think she's a background in judo and wrestling. And I think that's going to be enough to take Holly Holm down in the clinch and maybe throw a submission on there. And also, she has I'm going to go with Kayla Harrison by decision for this one. Here we go. Another most anticipated for me is Davison Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. So we have, obviously, Davison Figueiredo is moving up from the flyweight division. However, he was a massive flyweight with a lot of muscle and a lot of power and extremely skillful grappling. But Cody No Love, baby, is an extremely crisp and clean striker on the feet who has the ability to knock out anybody in the bantamweight division. Unfortunately, I am going to go with Figueiredo by round two. Round two KO. I really want Cody to win, but I think Figueiredo's threat on the ground is going to present Cody huge problems, and he's going to be hesitant to engage in those brutal striking bouts. I think he's going to fear the takedown a little bit, as Figueiredo is incredible at jiu-jitsu and has insane speed and dexterity with his grappling. And he's a huge, massive favorite. I wouldn't be mad about taking the plus 270 Cody Garbrandt knockout, or Cody Garbrandt win, but I think Cody does have a good chance to win by knockout. He's got great power, and he's got great striking on the feet. However, final pick is going to be Figueiredo's second round KO. Next we have, just look at those odds, negative 1450 plus 750. Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. I am obviously going to go with Bo Nickel by probably first round finish. I don't know, submission or knockout. It doesn't really matter. Cody Brundage is kind of trash. He won his last fight, but before that, he's been losing to pretty much everybody. And Bo Nickel's a great prospect with A+ wrestling and great power. So I'm going to go with Bo Nickel by first round finish. Not really much to talk about in this fight. I wish Bo Nickel would have a real opponent to test his skills. But I guess they're just trying to take it slow so they don't lose a future star. Next we have Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. And I think this fight is going to be a little bit boring, to be honest. It should be exciting, and it has the possibility to be. But I'm going to go with Aljo. He is a huge bantamweight. Moving up to featherweight. The former bantamweight champion. He did get chinned by Sean O'Malley a little while back, so he's coming off a knockout. His chin might not be the greatest, but you know what? I'm gonna switch. Now I'm gonna stay with my gut and pick Aljo. I think he's gonna grapple. His striking is pretty weird and not too good, to be honest, but I think that he's going to backpack Calvin Kattar for 3 rounds, and I think he's going to get the finish by submission or a decision win. So I'm going to go with Aljamain Sterling in this fight right here. Next we have EVERY Prohaska versus Alexander Rakic. This is either gonna be one of the best fights or one of the most boring, because we have probably the most exciting fighter on the roster, Yuri Prohaska, as a slight underdog to Alexander Rakic, who is a leg kick decision merchant, even though he does have a lot of power. I think I'm gonna pick Yuri by KO. However, Rakic has the best leg kicks in the second best the third best leg kicks in the light heavyweight division, behind both Alex Pereira and Jan Blachowicz. But we saw that leg kicks were a bit of a weakness from Yuri when he fought Bobaton. So I think Rakic is gonna kick Yuri's legs out and make it difficult for him to move around and land those crazy strikes that Yuri's known for. But Yuri is one of my top 3 fighters, so I'm gonna go with Yuri by KO in round 2. I think Yuri's striking is better. I think his power's a little bit better, and I think he's gonna easily nullify any grappling that Rakic has. And I think Yuri's gonna be able to prepare for those leg kicks, check them, and catch Rakic with a counter. Next, we have Charles Oliveira. I beat a champion, Charles the Bronx. My favorite fighter in the UFC of all time, Charles Oliveira, versus Arman Tsarukyan. I don't like Arman Tsarukyan. He's a thug. He jumped Bobby Green with his boys when Bobby Green was alone. I don't like that activity. Arman's just a little bully. And Charles Oliveira, first round KO. All I gotta say. Now for real. Tsarukyan's grappling is incredible, but so is Oliveira's. Both have good power on the feet, but Arman's a more wrestling grappler, while Oliveira is a jiu-jitsu master. However, I don't think it's going to go super well for Tsarukyan if he takes down Oliveira. I think get back to his feet, and I think the only way that Tsarukyan puts Oliveira in any trouble on the ground is going to be if he knocks him down and then jumps on a submission. But Oliveira is just, in my opinion, he's too powerful and he's too competent on the ground to lose to someone like the bully Arman Tsarukyan. So Oliveira, first round KO, baby. Next we have Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. So for this fight, we have Max Holloway, one of the greatest featherweights, moving up to lightweight once again. He did previously move up to lightweight where he lost against Dustin Poirier. That was a long time ago, however, and it was on shorter notice. I think this time Holloway is going to bulk up to lightweight properly and give a good fight to Justin Gaethje. However, I'm going to go with Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, I think he's too wild, he's too powerful, and he is a violent man. And I think his skills are just below Max Holloway. Nothing to scoff at or anything. I don't think this fight's going to go to the ground. They both have a solid takedown defense. However, I think this is going to be a war. I think it's going to be closer than people think. But I think Justin Gaethje is going to get the win in the end. So we have, next up we have Song Weili versus Yan Xiaonan. I'm going to go with Zhang Weili in this fight. She's one of the most dominant women champions. Her grappling's elite. Her striking's elite. She mixes it up on the feet, and she's a pretty exciting fighter to watch. I think this fight might be a little boring because I think it's going to be on the ground a lot. Weili is going to be camping in the top position, grounding and pounding, in my opinion, for most of the fight. She's a bit of a half-guard merchant. But I do think Weili is going to get this done by, let's go, third round TKO stoppage, ground and pound. And finally, for the main event of the evening, we have Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira. Hill is a powerful striker with clean boxing and solid kicks on the feet. He also has good grappling. I don't think he's going to try and wrestle Pereira. Maybe towards the later parts of the fight, if it gets there, but I don't know. Pereira is a massive man with elite power and technical kickboxing prowess. I think this is going to be a striking war, boxing versus kickboxing, but I just have a feeling Pereira is getting KO'd. His chin isn't too good, as we saw him getting flatlined by Izzy. I know this is up a weight class, so his chin is likely better from the less cutting of weight. However, I just think that Jamal Hill is going to catch him with his quick hands, and we know that Pereira's boxing, specifically boxing defense, isn't too great. He was getting tagged by Yuri Adesanya, bit by Blachowicz too, and he's getting a little bit old. But I really want Pereira to win, to be honest, and I think he has a great chance of winning. But I just have a feeling that Jamal Hill is gonna catch him and KO him in the second round of their fight. Alright, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. And that's gonna be it for my picks for the UFC 300